Alfred Dube is a pensioner living in Soweto and has a lot of time to watch television. Like most South African viewers, he has been accustomed to watching a limited amount of channels on his analogue TV. A year ago, all that changed when his household was selected to become part of the first digital terrestrial testing group in the country.
It feels great. Why? Because, sometimes these channels, I used to go to movies. I've seen a lot of old movies in these channels. And then in these channels, if we can get more, it was going to be nice, because most of the time, my friends, they come in, and some of their families, they come and look at it. And I wish that it can be successful if they can put it, like us pensioners, not a lot of money. We like it. We like it very much. And we wish, it can be successful.
The migration to digital television in South Africa started in 2001 and is now being driven by the Minister of Communications. He believes that the country is on the brink of a digital revolution.
It took us a long time, but we resolved the matters of standards. We have now got a firm position that by December 2013, we will switch off what is called the analogue signal, and we will then move into the new digital era. There are something like 5 million people in this country who we estimate, because of the levels of poverty, who will not be able to afford to purchase a box. And this would therefore mean that government has got to come to the party and subsidize this box, which we think will cost about 700 rand, and we will subsidize it to 2/3 of the cost, and 1/3 will come from the consumer. So government has got to come into the program of getting this box manufactured by a group of companies in the country so that these boxes can become available.
The Southern African Digital Broadcasting Association is at the forefront of promoting the coordinated, market-driven introduction of digital broadcasting technologies in the Southern African region.
The DVB T2 trial, that's a trial of the latest generation digital terrestrial television technology, was started in Soweto, really to show that the technology is not a dream. It is in operation. One can buy the receivers off the shelf, and one can actually do it as South African engineers, establish the transmission capability and radiate the broadcast. Of course, one also wants to learn how the consumer would interact with such a service, what the challenges would be to making it work in the home. Probably overwhelming is the experience to move from analog television, where they had 4 services, to having one digital service delivering 20 channels or 21 channels. That has been the thing that everybody talks about. The neighbors come to watch. There's a whole discussion. People have changed how they spend their free time. Not that they just sit in front of the TV set, but it has really opened a window on the world that wasn't there before. One of the key things that will drive migration, probably more than the subsidy or the availability of funky looking boxes in retail, is really content. And the content available on DTT, the additional new channels still need authorization from ICASA. So today we don't know what they are, when they'll be on air, and whether they will be compelling and fantastic to the extent that people will rush out to buy the box. The bigger problem is getting the distribution done and getting them into the home. That's where the huge challenges are. The factories can produce truckloads full. You can't put all those truckloads full of boxes into shelves in retail, and you need to move them out of retail into the homes. So really connects to what we've just spoken about, that there's a huge demand for the home install support and the opportunities there.
This is one of 60 households in Soweto that has been part of the DTT trial that started September last year. This has allowed the engineers and technical experts to monitor the effects that digital terrestrial television will have on the average South African household. Also, to hone their skills so that we are ready for the turnover period scheduled for 2013. SASFED represents the majority of independent production companies in South Africa and is less optimistic about whether the targeted date for full digital migration will be achieved.
I think the digital migration process in South Africa has run a lot slower than we had hoped. I think the public and the industry itself would have expected that migration process to move a lot faster. And as a result, we are seeing a slow rollout of any structure systems. And they've only recently decided to go to a particular version of digital terrestrial transmission. And technically, the standards have been set, but the details of the decoders and exactly what kind of mechanisms will be put in place to control use of those decoders hasn't been decided on yet. I certainly don't think that we are ready for dual elimination to be completed by that date, and I will be exceptionally surprised if in fact the analog frequencies are switched off by 2013. I think one of the biggest issues in terms of digital migration is that the independent production sector, which makes ultimately the lion's share of content that is seen by South Africans about South Africa and about our culture and about our voices, the plurality of voices that we try to capture every day and see on our screens, has not been effectively consulted, engaged with, or taken part in the process of the planning of the dual elimination or migration to digital on the free-to-air space in South Africa. I think that's deeply regrettable.
Companies like Altec have demonstrated their manufacturing capacity to produce sufficient set-top boxes for the Southern African market.
As a South African, I think this is one of the best things that could happen to us, especially here in the urban areas. Because, in truly speaking, I don't know, but we like to have like Mnet and all that thing each and every house, but we cannot afford it. We really cannot afford it. But if at all the money, the subscription is down, I think it's going to go far.
About 10 million households will have to buy decoders, and the DOC has set aside 2.5 billion rands to subsidize the STBs for the poorest households.